Tonight, I sat down with an officer who has a very different look at police chases. Recently, we had another deadly one across the river, right there where two innocent girls were killed in another police chase gone wrong. This, though, is a very unusual perspective.
83-10-1 in traffic pursuit.
Within just the last little bit, police chases have led to the deaths of 6 people right here, just in our area. If you go back years and years, that number only grows. Tim Henderson is a retired lieutenant with the Baton Rouge Police Department, well known on the streets as a cop. But Henderson has a very unique perspective on police chases. 2 perspectives, really, both learned through experience.
There was a couple of times where I saw that there was some danger posed to some kids that were in the area. The person I was chasing, I knew who he was, had already chased him in a stolen car before, so I called the pursuit off myself, which is not common for a young officer to do.
Henderson says he's been in hundreds of pursuits over his 32 years in law enforcement with various agencies. But it's what he's learned from one police chase that makes his opinion on this whole thing stick out. Way before he was Lieutenant Henderson, big, tough, streetwise cop, he was just Tim, a young man in his 20s, the son of Glenn Henderson, and someone whose world was about to be turned upside down. When his mom showed up to work that day, he knew something was wrong. He thought something had happened to his grandma.
I said, is she okay? And she said, it wasn't your grandmother, it was your father. He was killed in a vehicle accident. And I said, what do you mean a vehicle accident? And she said, the police were chasing somebody, and he was killed as a result. So.
According to police spokesman Jeff Wesley, the truck driver accelerated and tried to run away from officers. The truck was estimated to be going 90 to 95 miles an hour when it ran through the Airline Highway and Choctaw intersection, hitting a car and killing the 2 people in that vehicle.
They were just driving down Airline Highway and had no idea of what was going on at the time. From what the officers tell me, the truck was traveling at a very high rate of speed and was unable to slow down or stop as they entered the intersection.
So this is how that police chase ended in 1989, here along Airline Highway. Baton Rouge police chasing a guy who was breaking into pawn shops. You know, losing your dad and picturing what all you would lose out on is enough to break anyone. The very next year, Tim became a cop.
So, you know, it was devastating to me because, you know, at that point in time in your life, you're kind of in a transitional phase where you're trying to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your life, and maybe you're not spending a lot of time with your parents. But as the days, you know, move forward, the things that you think about are, you know, this is so final. You don't have the opportunity to go through the normal course of life where, you know, you spend time with your family, your father, in my case, your father, and, you know, let him see the man that you become.
The training is the biggest thing.
Members of the High Speed Pursuit Task Force continue to try and get answers into where the gaps are in training officers.
Now, because of all the deadly and dangerous issues we've had with police chases gone wrong, there's been a new effort to come up with some sort of statewide policy on police pursuits.
There's a community on the west side of the river returning today without 2 of their friends.
He did not even tap the brakes before he hit them. 86 miles an hour. Did not tap the brakes. But who holds agencies accountable? Is it the parish that holds them accountable? Is it you guys that hold them accountable? Is it state police that holds them accountable? I don't know who holds them accountable, but there has to be some accountability on this.
A father there testifying about losing his daughter and needing some answers. And even though Henderson lost his father to a pursuit, he is quick to say there isn't a one-size-fits-all or even a one-size-fits-most solution. Henderson says oftentimes cops should listen to the wisdom of older officers and perhaps back off on some chases.
And we have to make sure as police officers that we don't let our prey drive, you know, like the cheetah chasing the gazelle. We got to make sure that it's okay. We're not going to starve if we don't catch this guy. And a lot of times police take these things personally, you know, they get emotionally attached to the moment. And as you get more experience and wisdom, then you start understanding the responses that your body's having. It's okay, but move past it, continue the process, and say, hey, if they get away, they get away. You know, that's on a normal day-to-day stop, not a known targeted offender. You're just going to chase them, you know, till however it is.
So what is the answer here? Call off all chases, saving families pain and torture when these pursuits go wrong? But what message would that send to the bad guys who start the chases in the first place?
It says to the bad guys, freedom. all you got to do is punch the pedal and move, and they're not going to come. So if you say no chases, they're going to run. Why would you not? I think you should get all these people together. I think you should have real cops. I don't think you need outsiders involved in it, because you're a newsman. I wouldn't come in here and tell you how to run the 10 o'clock news, because it's not what I do. I can give you some guidance and tell you what I like, but I think you need to have police officers. You need to have sheriffs. You need to have chiefs of police. You need to have all these people, and it's important to have the district attorneys also to give some insight from their perspective. And I don't like to use the word police best practices, because that's something that usually has an agenda attached to it, right? So I'll just say what's working either locally or nationally, because what happens in Oklahoma and New York doesn't necessarily reflect the needs of Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas, right? I think we need to come up with guidelines, but I would stop short of doing anything through the legislature. And I think that if you do that, it's going to be counterproductive.
So Tim Henderson there in his retirement actually has a podcast, and in the podcast, believe it or not, one of the episodes, he interviews the officer that was involved in the chase that killed his father. So if you want to listen to that, we've posted it right now on the WAFB app. You can go there, or website, click on it, and it will give you that very unique perspective.
Indeed, Greg. Thank you for that. Still ahead from us, some lawmakers